Hey, welcome back to the garage. I'm working on getting organized here and getting my Harbor Freight tool cart all set up. You may have seen a previous video I did showing how I mounted my wrenches up on the top, save some space and make some easy to access and well organized. So now I'm moving on to my sockets. I've had several sets of sockets, various things to organize them, but they were all just, kind of piled up in the top of the cart. So I decided to make this socket organizer. So what this is, it's a piece of 3/16 inch acrylic that I created the design for it based on exactly the sockets that I own, the sets that I own, and used a laser cutter that I am able to access through my local makerspace to do the cutout of this, and also not just the cutting, but to do the engraving of the numbers. The way I made the numbers stand out is I left the paper that comes on the acrylic on it so I cut it and did the engraving with the paper on, and then before I peeled the paper off, I hit it with a little bit of white spray paint, which really made those numbers stand out. So the design for this, I used a tool called Inkscape, which is it's completely free open source tool available for. I run it on Linux, but you can it'll run on Windows and Mac as well. And so I drew out the design for the top of the cart to to fit the shape of this Harbor Freight tool cart. And I have a template file for that, which I'll upload to my website. Then I also wrote a little program actually to generate all of the individual circle sizes with the labels, and then imported those all into that. Manually moved them around to lay them out the way I liked it, to where it fit really well, and then I was able to output that file and use the laser cutter. Towards the front, since I was trying to figure out what to do with my my ratchets and extensions. Actually, I found this in the kitchen aisle of one of the big box stores in the kitchen organization. I found these useful trays. So what I did is I cut out the holes the size of these trays. That gives me a place to put my ratchets and some other small parts and some extensions. So I should, for anything, ratchet related, I should be able to have really quick and easy access to it, and hopefully, won't still be losing my tools just from lack of organization. So what I did, the organizer itself is just a flat sheet of acrylic. What I did to get the depth right is I found that using some pieces of 2x4 just glued to the underside of the acrylic was just the right spacing for for the larger deep impact sockets and the deep half-inch drive sockets and deep 3/8 sockets as well. But it was too deep, of course, for the shallow sockets. So what I did is I made up some spacers just with some random scrap that I found around the shop. I found that a 3/4 inch board underneath most of the shallow half-inch and the shallow 3/8 worked really well. And then for the shorter 1/4 inch sockets, I did the 3/4 inch plywood, and then on top, or the 3/4 inch board, and then on top of that, I had a little, I think it was like 3/8 thick, and that spaced it up really nicely, so everything sticks up the right amount, everything's easy to grab, keeps it organized, and they're held high enough up that even if the cart moves around, they won't fall over and get all disorganized again. So if you are interested in making something like this yourself, I will upload all the files that I used to my website, chappysgarage.com, and I'll put a link in the description below. And as I mentioned, I cut these out on a laser cutter at my local makerspace. If you're not a member of a makerspace and don't have access to that, I do recommend you look in your area. You might find they're starting to pop up around the area, all around the country, and who knows, you may have something in your area that's has access to things like laser cutters, and my makerspace has a machine shop and pretty good automotive area and things like that. So if you do find this useful, appreciate you subscribing to the channel, and you'll get notified of new videos when they get posted. I try to do a video every couple weeks typically. Various automotive things and workshop things and welding and all kinds of cool stuff, hopefully. So if you find that interesting, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you come back for more.